Yeah, exactly.
I just want to keep going.
What's that?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Did they?
Yeah, so that's case.
Education.
Yeah, no, I knew that.
Yeah.
That's it, it's not necessary. You drove all this way to help us, it's necessary. Weather, I had no recollection.
Stephen will be with us today. Oh, hey, Stephen. How you doing? How was traffic today?
Interesting. Always.
Well, you got here in good time.
I left yesterday.
You left.
City's never taken the same route twice.
There you go.
We're learning the country. It's pretty. I'll tell you that.
You ready to go?
Yes, sir.
All righty. All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first up is the adoption of the agenda. Do we have any changes?
Not on the agenda, on the minutes, we vote on the agenda.
I got a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Okay, approval of the March 19 minutes. You say we got a little change on that.
I have several changes there. The minutes I sent out in the 5th paragraph down reference the attached schedule of proposed rates that was not attached to what came to you. That will be attached to the final document that the chairman signed. In that same paragraph, in the 3rd sentence, remove the words directly billed instead of creating a new definition of customer. In the 4th line, the 4th word from the end changes from should to if. And then the 6th line will remove the first if from that sentence. Those are the changes. They're minor, but they do need to be made, and that is what we have in the final minutes for the chairman to sign if the board accepts those changes.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adopt the minutes as amended?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye. Okay. Looks like we have no old business, so we'll go straight to new business. First item is public comment.
Unless Mr. Yao is going to speak to us today.
No, sir. I'll just probably come down and see how things are progressing.
Very good, welcome. Customer request,
We do not have any this week, sir.
comments from the board.
I think just for note, since he served us so well for so long, that note the passing of Steve Hopper a couple weeks ago. His funeral was his best Saturday, but Steve was, I don't know how many years Steve was chairman.
More than one.
I love him.
Yeah, so, ours and-
Okay, if there's no other comments from the board, PPEA policy.
Yes, so the next item on there, item D, under new business, is a PPEA policy that's referring to the Public-Private Education Facilities and Infrastructure Act of 2002 in Virginia. And what it does, it allows Virginia local government entities to partner with private companies to develop public projects like water and sewer infrastructure, schools, buildings, that sort of thing. The goal is to use private sector expertise in financing and deliver projects more efficiently or cost effectively than traditional public procurement methods. Projects or they must meet a public need and qualify as public use, for instance, water and sewer facilities. And the process involves proposals, either solicited or unsolicited, evaluation by the public entity, and negotiated agreements outlining responsibilities and risks. So in short, it's a framework that lets government entities in Virginia collaborate with private partners to plan, finance, build, and operate public facilities more efficiently. This is just another tool available to RSA as it moves forward with some of the larger projects in the future that it has to do. The board's already approved project management, design build. This would have to be also adopted as a policy by the board in order for us to be able to use. We have been approached by an individual on a project, and we're not able to really talk to him at the time because we don't have this policy in place. That's what he was pursuing.
Okay, any questions on that?
I don't have any questions, but a comment. Been involved in a few of these design builds. Generally, looks like it was a really good project.
That's what we would hope.
Looking for a motion to approve this thing.
We request that the board adopt the policy subject to finalization and final review by our legal counsel. It's gone through Stefan's firm, but he is still going over some of the finer details on it. But that is our request, that the board would go ahead and adopt the policy subject to his final review.
Comfortable with that, so,
Yes, sir. None of the changes would be substantive, but there are going to be a few to make it a tighter, more readable document. Nothing substantive.
okay. Is that a motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there a second? Any further discussion? Okay, can you do a roll call? Tim?
Coppedge.
Aye.
Davies.
Aye.
Elliott.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
All right, so we knocked down 5-0. Next up is term contracts for engineering services.
David is going to present this item to you, Mr. Chairman.
Good afternoon. In February, we issued a request for proposals for term contracts for engineering, like we did back in 2022. This year, we received 8 proposals. We reviewed those proposals. We selected 7 firms as finalists and performed interviews, and staff is now recommending award to 6 firms. Collectively, these firms have demonstrated that they have capabilities to serve our needs, including asset management, vacuum sewer system design, reservoir design, treatment plant upgrades, and also rehabilitation of distribution and collection system infrastructure. So we're requesting board authorization for the general manager to sign contracts for the initial one-year terms and up to 3 additional one-year term renewals. My memo in the board packet lists out the 6 firms. If you have any questions about those, then I'd be glad to answer.
Okay, any questions for Dave?
I mean, have we worked with all 6 of these?
We have not. We've worked with Hurt and Profit, Mangrum Consulting and Design, and Short Elliott Hendrickson. They're our current term contract holders, 3 of the 4. The rest of them, we were definitely, we were familiar with their work, and we were very pleased with how they turned out in the interview.
I have worked with Hayes and Sauter previously. We're a large, multi-faceted firm. They bring a lot. The other 2 on here are a little bit smaller. They'll do a good job for us in the areas that we need.
Right.
So David, you look at this and if you're going to let a job, you pick what you think is the best out of 6 for that particular job.
Yes, so staff would have the ability to select whichever firm is most suitable. In the case that the project is beyond what we think any of these firms are capable of, we would be able to still put it out for bid.
Okay.
Again, if the board approves this, we'll go ahead and execute the contracts, subject again to final review by legal counsel.
Pricing is up for renewal each year.
The pricing is actually negotiated for each project.
For each project, right? Okay. The retainer, I guess.
Yeah, depending on what the project is.
Okay, so we need a motion to authorize the general manager to execute the contracts. Okay, motion, is there a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, just making sure, David, in your motion, that is subject to final approval by the attorney. Part of your motion?
Yes.
Yes, sir, okay.
All right, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. General manager report.
Briefly, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to bring the board up to date on drought conditions we're dealing with. For the northern Piedmont area, which we're a part of, we do remain under a drought warning advisory. Precipitation totals for our area remain below normal levels statewide, with most of the area receiving only 50 to 75% of the small precipitation. The northern Piedmont area is in the 53% of the state with moderate drought conditions at this point. So we do need rain, and we are hoping to get rain. So that's where we're at as far as DEQ and their drought definitions at this point. Also make the board aware that the Wilderness Sewage Treatment Plant has been experiencing some odor-related issues that is affecting homes nearby, and it's part of the seasonal transition that we have encountered there and in other sewage plants we run, particularly in the spring and the fall, primarily caused by shifting temperatures, causing biosolids to rise in a tank, releasing sulfur-like gases that have been trapped. So we are working with that. The plant is fully in compliance with its BPDES permit. Staff have increased the aeration system to its full capacity, to try to minimize odors as much as possible, but the recent temperature increases have certainly intensified the issue down there. And it is an issue. We recognize that. We also have a lot of new homes that have been built right up around that plant, and so that's also exacerbating the problem somewhat. A lot of the folks there have never been there before, so this is a new experience for them. But we are working on it. We're going to have one of our consultant engineers take a look at it and see what they might recommend as a way to further mitigate the odor and to improve overall system performance. But I did want the board to be aware of it. I know that
Board of Supervisors and on, just had some communication with people. We've dealt with some of the homeowner groups down there, and community property management groups. So I wanted the board to be aware of what was going on down at that wastewater plant right now.
Tim, when that plant is replaced, will we be able to mitigate a lot of this with the new technology?
Possibly some of it, yes. Some of it I think has to do with the aeration system that we were provided with the plant nearly 20 years ago. I think that we can make some improvements to that would help. But I've always tried to be honest and tell people, when you live right near a sewage treatment plant, there's going to be times of odor. But I do think we can mitigate it and make it better. So, yes. Moving on, we do have a new hire handling public affairs. Adriel Stokes will be starting with the Service Authority April 30th. I commend David and Natalia. They have worked diligently on this issue, and I want to thank them for their hard work in pursuing this. And so they will be working with this new gentleman again starting April 30th. So we will hopefully find that to be a successful move. We are just reminding the board that we do have a public hearing this evening at 6:30 in Gordonsville for the Gordonsville sewer rate. The hearing will be held at Gordonsville Town Hall. We do need to have at least 3 of them there. We don't have to have the entire board, but we need 3 to make sure that we set it well. And then lastly, the last page of your agenda package is a snapshot of RSA's financials through March of 2026. And I don't know if you have any questions on that. I know at the last meeting there was some, David raised an issue or two, and we've not gone through and been able to modify this completely, but we did show at the bottom operating income from difference from last year and this year, and both have increased rather than lessened. And so that's probably partly due at least to rate increases that the board had already implemented, but we will continue working on that. So that includes my report, Mr. Chairman, unless you have questions.
Anything new on the site plan with Madison?
So they have, I'll let David tell you what's going on over there right now.
So we have all of our permits, and we've started on demolition of the plant. I expect next week to be a pretty productive week. The site work crew is working on Route 20 now, installing the vault, so they'll shift focus to Madison next week.
But the work is underway.
All right. We procured the land around it that we needed.
We have a construction easement for the property that we need adjacent to the site. And we'll have further discussions with the property owner on acquisition of the property.
2 questions. One, sort of a big picture, the other fairly specific. Big picture, where do we stand in terms of the pump station rehab, replacement projects, engineering study, and so forth?
With the 6 firms that the board approved today, one of those will be handed that to move with very shortly. And they will take that and run with it to the end.
The second specific, this may be for David, Lake of the Woods, there's a pump truck, it seems almost daily, Verde and green. Is that a temporary situation? Do we have any plans to do something to fix that permanently so the pump truck isn't there all the time?
I would like to say that yes, it's a short-term solution. We do have the pump truck visiting several tanks on a daily basis to make sure that we're clearing them. The issue comes down to a loss of vacuum, especially at the end of lines. And we've been fighting with Zone K especially, most recently. So we're hoping that this engineering firm that Tim referenced will be able to assist us figuring out exactly what's going wrong in the system. And then as we get into pump station upgrades and other system improvements, we can address those areas that have low back.
Question, work you're doing on Route 20 just outside of Orange, looks like maybe the Rapidan had is that an accurate characterization?
Yes, sir, as David said, they should be setting the vault there today or tomorrow. All the pipe work has already been put together above ground. We've been waiting on the vault. In fact, we're still waiting on the lids for the vault, but they will do something temporary with that. The vault just arrived, they'll get that installed. The pipe work should take very little time since it's going to be just basically dropped in and bolted up. And then that project will be wrapping up here.
The vault was sent this morning, so all the piping should be connected. There's a little bit more work to do on the electrical side and communications back to the town water plant, but it is a usable connection.
All right, any other questions on the GM report? All right, attorney report.
I've been updating you all on our PFAS claims, and we continue to work together on those. And Tim doesn't know this, but we got a wire late yesterday. I had just enough time to have a check cut to RSA. This was for $10,076.85. I didn't have enough time to make it one of those great big dramatic checks. I'll just use the stub to make it look a little bigger. But pretend like that's one of those.
Thank you very much. Stefan's working, their firm has done a lot of work on this for us. It has proved beneficial. We're grateful.
And the good news is we don't have any PFAS, so it's like the best of all worlds.
Okay,
That's all
it?
I have to say.
okay. Closed session.
We do have a need for a closed session. Mr. Chairman, I'll read the language, and then if one of the board members can make that a motion. This will be a motion to enter into closed session at the regular meeting of the Board of Members of the Rapidan Service Authority on April 16, 2026. I move that the Board of Members of the Rapidan Service Authority enter into closed session for the following: pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711, parentheses A, parentheses 1, 7, and 8, respectively. Discussion and consideration of the appointment for RSA's general manager position, consultation with legal counsel, and briefing by staff members pertaining to probable litigation where such consultation or briefing in open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of the board, and consultation with legal counsel regarding specific legal matters related to the foregoing matter. If I can get that in the form of a motion, please.
Okay, I'm gonna make that a motion.
So moved.
Second.